Hey guys, Eric here with Joshua. We are going to have our post-season conversation about Jessica Jones. Quickly, you saw our video, or maybe you didn't see it, but you should, talking about the first 7 episodes going into it. We were very positive about a lot of it. But now, let's go into full spoilers. So, still with us, all 13 episodes we're about to discuss. So Joshua, overall thoughts, now that you've seen all 13 episodes of Jessica Jones.
Thought it was really good.
Yes. Really good.
This show blew my mind over and over again. I was terrified a lot of it because of the Purple Man. I was really sad for all the emotional drama. I was really entertained with the action and her just very light superpowers. Her and like Luke Cage and Little Nuke in there. Will Simpson. And every character and how big or small their role seemed like really important. Lots of flavor, great writing, great acting all around. This was just a great piece of emotionally devastating TV.
It's an intense show, and I really like all the characters too. Well, not all. We'll get to one that I had some gripes with, but of the main supporting cast, thought they were all strong. I like kind of how they brought different stuff out of Jessica. Lots of good relationships there. I think, her and Luke, really interesting dynamic. I loved her and Trish, which ended up by the finale kind of being crucial, maybe the most crucial relationship of the whole thing. A really good look at like 2 very different women who still were sisters.
I love how in the end it was really about like their bond as like sisters, like 2 like women like taking care of each other, saving each other.
That was great, while also setting up Hellcat. I think they were certainly building. There was a lot going on in this if you think about it, because it was like Jessica Jones we're meeting, we're getting Luke Cage set up, and then kind of Nuke and Hellcat's origins.
I was impressed of how much Luke Cage they put in it and how much they introduced and developed his character, while still it was always Jessica's show.
Right. And let's talk about Jessica, because I love the character. I thought Kristen Ritter was terrific. And I thought they really went for it as far as, she's somewhat of an anti-hero. She certainly is rejecting the call to go out there and be a hero, that even though that's kind of innately in her to some extent. And I thought they really kind of committed and did a great job of showing someone who's very flawed, a good person, but all of her flaws and sort of the facade she puts up with the world, without Jessica herself. Were you always into that character?
Yeah, it's just, she's so different than a lot of people, a lot of other characters we get. And even though, I've said this before, but I think she's right up there with Robert Downey Jr.'s Tony Stark as just someone who completely owns the role and just gives us something new, different, and fresh that's really interesting and just so watchable. So she's like automatically just one of my favorite superhero performances I've ever seen. Although I say superhero, even though she's not quite.
Yeah, and it wasn't really like an action show, but then they would have these sort of action moments that would creep into it, which I thought got better as the season went on.
Yeah, and it wasn't Daredevil with these long choreographed fights. She's not a martial artist. She's just there to just really just pushing people over, kicking things into them, tables, desks, whatever. So I really enjoyed like sort of the different feel to the action in this one.
And let's talk about Kilgrave more, because we mentioned you mentioned that the sort of darkness there, and a lot of this played in a very horror movie way. I mean, this is such a deplorable villain. It's like, because he can do this thing and he's just this narcissistic sociopath. He doesn't have aspirations of world domination. He doesn't want to get some amazing object of power. He just wants you to do whatever he wants, and he doesn't care anything about you. And I think that's what was so scary.
So terrifying of just that with a word, he would make you do the worst thing. And he did over and over again. I couldn't believe what he was making like these people do. And just like really just like torturing them, and like even just with people who's like, you're not allowed to blink until Jessica comes back. And I was like, even that, which is one of the more minor things he did, but that was like making me uncomfortable. His powers of just the fact that he can make anybody do anything. I was constantly, again, like holding my breath. It was really tense. I was like, anyone who Jessica encounters could be under his control. They could pull out a gun or a knife. They could hurt her, someone close to her. So it was just something, that made for a really like unpredictable plot twist that can come at any moment. And it was handled very well. And I would say I actually like him better than the Kingpin. And for a while, I think we were saying, is Kingpin the best MCU villain yet? And I think Purple Man might be better, if only because I think Kingpin had to become larger than life in the end. But Purple Man just had to keep on being himself, doing messed up, torturous, perverted things, just to serve his own like personal agenda.
Yeah, he was terrifying, and I love that. I mean, I would just say they're 2 for 2 on these villains on these shows.
Both are great. Don't come after me. Both are amazing.
They are. But yeah, he was so intense and scary. And also, I was, really impressed by sort of where they went with this show. I mean, it is the most adult thing Marvel has done by far in the cinematic universe. And they really didn't hold back. I mean, look, he does awful things. And the fact that he is a rapist was not, they didn't ignore that. They didn't even like kind of mention it, but not mention it. No, it was like dead on talked about. And the fact that whether he physically raped you or not, he had violated all these people, I think was really an important through line. The fact there was like the support group and stuff. The fact they would just go there, the fact that Hope, who I actually thought Erin Moriarty was excellent too, has sort of a very tragic character, that she was raped by this guy, she had an abortion, like just the fact that you even go there, whatever your feelings are on these matters, I was impressed that Marvel would even touch,
Marvel owned by Disney.
Was kind of going all in on it, and the fact that there was like a sadness that these people had all gone through this stuff, that throughout. Did you think that they sort of I don't know, earned is the right word, but they like lived up to and sort of, got all they needed to out of that storyline and weren't just like, oh, he did horrible things and moving on. Do you feel the weight of the stuff that the people he left in his path?
Definitely. Yeah. I feel like a theme of the show is like PTSD.
Yeah.
Jessica herself is a PTSD case for the ages, right? And everyone, and the show is about, like you're saying, of just people who were used and abused by the Purple Man. Kilgrave. I call Purple Man from the comics. So you're constantly seeing just like how he just ruins lives, and even just for example, like Jerry's storyline with her little love triangle and everything. That was something he like exploited, and then it turned that into like a horror scene.
Oh my gosh,
he just is 1,000 cuts. Like there you go. That had me like biting the blanket I was wrapped in because I just couldn't. I was like, no, stop cutting her. And just the things that he can do with a word are just so terrifying.
That storyline, I'm glad you brought it up, because I thought that initially there was too much of that storyline. I didn't quite know why we were spending so much time on it. And I still think they could have probably scaled it back a little, but it certainly got a huge payoff in a macabre way by linking back into what Kilgrave could do. And yeah, what a terrifying scene. I do want to bring up, because look, it wasn't perfect. Jessica Jones, had some flaws. If I had to say one thing I would change about this show, if I can only change one thing, it's the character Robin, the neighbor. I hated her, and not in I disliked the character, like, because she's not likable. Like, I thought she was a misfire. Like, she was too much. Like, she was supposed to be a weird girl, but she felt like she wasn't in the same show as everyone else. What do you think of Robin?
I agree completely. Yeah, it's not that. Some people are like, oh, she's supposed to be unlikable. But like you said, it's just that the character didn't quite work. Whatever she was supposed to do, it didn't quite. It wasn't successful. Yeah,
and I'd say the one really bad storyline moment was when she got everyone, the whole support group, to kind of turn on Jessica.
Yeah, and then she took out Jessica by bonking her in the head with that pipe thing, and I was like, really? Like, she can get hit by a bus and get up, but yet she can be taken out by a normal girl with a pole.
So that didn't work, but so much else did. Overall, I just think, they really nailed it with this show. Like, it was trying for something very different and completely got it, So suffice to say, you're hoping, we know we're going to see Jessica in Defenders, but you like to see another season of Jessica Jones?
Oh yeah. She's just so fascinating and so watchable, and she's something new, right? She's not a costume character. It's even called Jessica Jones. It's not Daredevil or Iron Fist. It's her name. Well, Luke Cage, but he was Power Man. But so it's just, I feel like it's just like a really impressive showing of what other kinds of comics exist out there. And what you can do when you don't shy away from the more adult themes. And it just really makes for fascinating, great TV. I think this is Kristen Ritter's like best performance of her life. And I want to see her keep doing more and more and more.
I completely agree with all that, and I really like what you said about Marvel sort of showing, like, hey, we don't have to make the same kind of thing. And they did sci-fi, and they've done different, but still people kind of still expect a certain kind of vibe or hero, And this is showing, no, we can go in a very different direction. It doesn't have to even be like the action template, even though there's some action there. There's a lot to tell in the world of these characters in the Marvel Universe.
Yes, yes.
So we'll see. We're going to get more Jessica and Defenders, and hopefully some more seasons of Jessica as well. Those are overall thoughts, but there's plenty more we have to say about Jessica Jones. Look at all our episode reviews and other sort of individual videos out there. We're going to have plenty more to talk about with Jessica and with Marvel and all the things they're doing on Netflix. So keep it here at IGN.